Hey guys, happy Friday and welcome to season 5 of the Collaboration Conversation, a listener-supported video podcast where Christian artists, entrepreneurs, and friends share about their upcoming projects and how they are using the gifts and the talents that God has given them. To what end, of course, as always, is to share the good news about King Jesus. Today, our very extra special guest is Celina Acevedo. Celina is my very dear friend. She is also an actress and a competitive dancer. She trains in many different styles, including jazz, ballet, tap, lyrical, hip hop, and improv. She started acting as a part of a local theater company and then signed with an agent once she started getting into commercial work. She loves music, she plays guitar, ukulele, piano, and she likes to sing. And she really also enjoys art. She's just an artist of all the different kinds, and we love that. And she and I met during the filming of Amazing Gracie, where she played the title role of Gracie, and she is amazing. And we are just so excited to talk about Amazing Gracie today and acting. So Celina, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, it is so good to see your face.
Yeah, it's so good to see you
It's
too.
been so long. It doesn't feel like that long, but also it totally does. Like,
yeah.
You look a little older to me, which is just crazy. I mean, that's what happens, right? You all grow up.
Have you had a birthday since you guys filmed?
No.
No. So you're still the same age, technically.
Still the same age, technically.
So it's been what, 8 months?
8 months or so. It's been a long.
Really?
I know. It's been a long
I
time.
didn't even realize that.
I know. Because, filming happens and everything is so go, go, go. And it feels like it goes by really
it
fast.
felt so quick.
Yeah, it goes by really quick. But at the same time, it feels like we got to hang out all summer and hang out and like get to know each other. And so
It's like church, summer camp.
summer camp. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
It feels quick, but it's also like, it feels really quick, but like when you're doing it, it kind of just like, it feels like slow.
It feels,
Yes.
Yeah, like you get to know everybody and you get to have fun. And totally.
Now, I'm not an actress, but I have heard that acting is like you have to hurry up and then wait.
Oh, yeah.
And hurry up and wait. And hurry up and wait. So that probably adds to the idea of it feeling so fast.
Yeah.
And so slow.
Totally. And then in the waiting parts, me and Celina would just goof off and be silly and talk about all the things we have in common.
Oh, that's
We had
awesome.
a lot of things in common.
We do have a lot of things in common. It was very fun.
Well, so as we get started, it's very nice to meet you. I have not met you before, so I'm Sarah's mom, as she's mentioned. But I would just like to know a little bit about you. You've got parents, and do you have siblings, and do you go to school? If you just tell us a little bit about you, that'd be great.
Yeah, of course. So I'm Celina. I'm 9 years old, and I have a younger brother, a younger sister, and an older sister. And I also have a dog. His name's Charlie, and he's really, really big. He was supposed to be a medium size, but he looks more like a horse. So,
That's awesome. What kind of dog is he?
he's a golden doodle.
He's a golden doodle and he's big?
Yeah, he's big.
Wow.
You must feed him really well.
Now, does your dog like to cuddle? Or do you like?
I mean, sometimes, like when he's in a good mood, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
So I recently got a puppy. After we finished filming, I got a dog in September, and I got a dog because I wanted somebody to cuddle with me all the time. And she doesn't like it. She doesn't like cuddling. And I can't. I'm like, come here. And she's like, no, thanks. She's very independent.
She's a very crazy.
She's a very crazy dog.
puppy.
Yes. And she's very sweet. And she's very cute. But I just really wanted someone to cuddle with
She's
me.
a puppy. She
know.
will eventually. How old is Charlie?
he's 3 years old.
3 years old. So
You've had him for a while.
they're all puppies in my mind,
Yeah.
Well, so you told us about your siblings. Tell us a little bit about school.
Oh, well, I'm homeschooled, but I do go to this different school, and it's kind of like a homeschool school.
Yes.
Like, but you get to choose your classes. So
Okay.
they're not like math or like science or history. They're more like cooking and arts and crafts and stuff like that. More like that kind of stuff.
Right.
So
Are you in
it's
school
fun
right now?
What?
Are you in school right now?
Oh, well, we had a winter break.
Okay.
And I think we're going back. It might be next week or like a few more weeks or something like that. I don't know yet. But I'm really excited to go back because I have a lot of friends there.
Good.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That is very cool. Do you know what classes you'll be taking this next time?
Yes, I know a few of them. I am taking this class where we're kind of like we're kind of like acting in it, actually. It's like I'm doing it with my younger sister, Rosalie.
Oh.
Because is it all of your siblings? I know your parents act, but do all of your siblings do artsy, craftsy things?
Yeah, all of my siblings do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's very cool. I love that you guys all get to bond and do all of that together.
Yeah, it's fun doing it.
Well, do you think that there's any chance when you're taking this acting class this next semester that since you have experience, they're going to have you help teach?
I mean, I am a little bit young, but maybe.
But maybe, you never know.
Maybe, yeah.
That is so funny. When I was growing up, my mom is a good singer and my dad plays guitar, but I was the only actor. I was the only one. Nobody else gets it. And so I think everyone else just wanted to play sports. And I was like, sports are cool, but acting is great. And so I just think it's really cool that you have, I know your sister was just in a pretty cool movie, a Christmas movie. And so for you to just be able to share that with your brothers and your sisters and your parents, I just think is so, so special. Do you guys practice together and things like that?
I mean, I really want to do that with my older sister and my younger sister. Sometimes we do, but like not all the time. They always want to like do it together. They sometimes just want to, do it on their own and stuff like that.
Gotcha. But at least you have people to run lines with for the rest of your life. I always had to pull my mom's teeth to get her to run lines with me.
Yeah, I didn't want to know what was happening.
Yeah, she wanted to be surprised, and I was like, I need to memorize these lines.
But when I go watch a movie, I know everything that everyone's going to say.
I know.
And I'll even think, oh, they didn't. They should have made a different choice. And I think this. I'm not even an actor. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Well, so I'm very interested that you play all of these instruments. How did you get started with all of the music?
Well, it was like a year ago, I think. Actually, I started ukulele, which is like one of my favorite ones that I play. It's really fun, and I take lessons and everything. But it all started because one of my friends, they played ukulele, and she started giving me like lessons on FaceTime, and I would use my older sister's ukulele, and I would just use that to practice. And then I got more into it, and then I started taking like professional lessons and stuff, and that's how I started ukulele. For guitar, my grandpa, he would like give me little lessons at our house, and he would just like, I would use my sister's guitar, obviously, and I would just, jam out with everything. On my piano, my aunt gave me lessons.
Wow.
And she plays piano very well, and so we would use our piano, and I've been playing since.
Nice.
Ever since.
It's funny. Most girls get hand-me-down clothes from their older sister, but you get hand-me-down guitars,
instruments,
ukuleles.
Yeah, that's funny. I don't know if you remember this, Celina, but when we were filming, there was maybe over the weekend or something, you went and you played, I think you played guitar, or maybe it was ukulele for like an old folks home. Do you remember that?
Oh, wait, yeah, I think I do remember that.
I just thought that was so sweet that you had like an opportunity to share your talents with some older folks and that they got to be blessed by that. I just thought that was really, really special and really cool. So good for you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was very fun.
Well, so this is crazy. It even, as I'm reading through your bio and everything, it looks like dance is kind of the biggest thing. I mean, you're really into dance,
yes.
Huh?
Yes, I am. I'm a competitive dancer, so I can't miss a lot of it because, like, I gotta practice a lot. I have my first solo this year, and I am very nervous. I have never had a solo before, and but all like last year, not all of us got a solo, so everybody got a solo this year. So I'm like, I have more people to like, be there for me.
That's
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
What's your favorite kind of the jazz and ballet and tap and all of that you do?
I'm gonna say tap because tap. It's like I feel like I'm better at it than like what else I do or something like that. Like I feel like it just comes easier for me.
You like
that makes sense. What type of technique is your solo?
Contemporary.
Okay, nice. You said you were a little nervous about it, and someone told me, I don't remember who told me this, but when I was little, someone told me that if I was nervous, that meant it was important to me, and I was like, oh, that's what that means.
Yeah.
Great. And then I moved on, and like after that, I don't get super nervous a lot of the time, but I love that that dance is important to you, and I know you said you were a little nervous for this, which means this is important to you. And I just, if you just think about it like that in those terms, it kind of helps take the nervousness away.
You took a bunch of dance classes growing up.
I did.
What's your favorite?
Well, I didn't take tap until I was an adult. I didn't take tap until I was like 26. And it's my favorite. I love tap. I don't know why I didn't take tap lessons when I was little. Mom, I'm just kidding.
Everything's my fault.
She signed me up for piano lessons. No, thank you. She signed me up for softball. Meh. Okay. She signed me up for all these, but didn't put me in tap.
Sorry.
She put me in gymnastics. I did that for a while.
Yeah.
But no, I love tap. Celina, that's another thing we have in common. That's our favorite type of dance.
Yeah.
Well, so how long have you been dancing? Like what age did you start?
I started at 2 years old, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
So no wonder you're competitive at 9.
I immediately loved it.
Yeah.
I was spinning and twirling. When I got there, I was like, yeah, I want to go again. I was so excited. It was so fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, so I read also that you like to choreograph. Do you think that you maybe want to be a choreographer?
Maybe actually. I might want to choreograph dances for little kids.
Okay.
That kind of sounds fun because I sometimes do it with my siblings, my younger siblings. We just make up little combos and stuff. It's really fun.
Do all 4 of you dance?
3 of us.
Okay.
The girls.
Yeah. Wow.
So cool.
I know.
You guys must be busy. I'm thinking about schedules for competitive dance and just how busy you guys must be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like being busy?
Yeah, I like being having things to do every day.
Sure. Yeah.
So does your mom homeschool you and drive you to everything?
Well, sometimes my dad will drive me, but most of the times my mom will probably drive us.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait for Sarah to turn 16 so she could drive herself because she was doing softball and volleyball and basketball and soccer
and theater
24/7 365 days a year, and I couldn't wait. So someday you're going to get to do your own driver's license and you'll be like, bye mom,
bye,
see ya.
That's what I not really, because obviously we hang out all the time.
Yeah.
But yes. True. So I wanted to talk to you about this thing that we did that one time way back when. It was a movie. I don't know if you remember, but you played in it, and it's called Amazing Gracie. And I'm so excited to talk to you about this. I remember when I cast the movie, and I remember I was going through hundreds and hundreds of headshots. And your headshot stood out to me, so I clicked on your picture and I looked at your resume and I looked at some of your clips, and I was like, yeah, I'd like to see an audition tape from her. So I sent the submission, and then I narrowed it down to maybe, I don't know, 50 to 60 tapes that I wanted to see. And I remember seeing your tape and I was like, that's it. I don't have to see any more tapes. this is the one. And so then it was my job to convince Micah. And so I sent, but I have to do my job right. So I narrowed it down to like 10 more tapes, and I sent him, and yours was in there, and I had a little note, and I was like, this one's my favorite. And I sent that off, and, and then we did the callback. Do you remember coming to the church in person? And I was probably on the big screen behind you watching. Do you remember that? And he said he wanted to meet you in person and do an in-person audition. And you, of course, you nailed it. So I just kind of wanted, I know what I experienced, but I want to kind of hear from you what your experience was going through the audition process.
Well, when I first got the audition, I was very excited. I really wanted to play Gracie because I immediately liked her character. It kind of seemed a lot like me. And so I had this notebook and I was just writing down things about her and stuff, and what her favorite color might be, or her favorite show, or just random stuff like that. And I just wrote that down.
That's great.
And so, yeah, and then I filmed the audition and sent it, and we, everybody in the family tries their hardest to kind of just forget about auditions because, you're not always going to get
totally
the thing. And then when I got the call back, I was like, whoa, I got that. And I was, it was an in-person one, so I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
But I felt pretty good after we did it. When I was doing it, I was more nervous, and I kind of was forgetting the lines all of a sudden, but when I was doing it, I was more comfortable because I was like, okay, I remember this now.
Yeah, you were in character.
Yeah.
What was that like? Were you on a screen, or were you there? Or? I
was on a screen. But I wasn't reading with her.
Oh, that's what I was wondering.
I think Jody was reading with you. And I just was listening.
Okay.
I was trying not to be an actor during the casting process. I was trying really hard.
So you and Jody read together?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, keep going.
When I finished the callback, I went out to a Mexican restaurant, and my mom said that she wasn't whether I got it or not, she was still proud of me because I just did it. I was brave enough to do that.
Yeah, of course.
I was
I like that. Anytime we have something big, let's go to a Mexican restaurant afterwards.
Oh my gosh, I'm okay with that.
I like that.
Great.
That's a good plan.
I love Mexican restaurants.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. I did want to tell you, this is, I want to finish because we did more in the audition process. We had a Zoom call later. And so I do want to talk about that. But one fun thing I want to share with you that someone taught me once is that all casting directors and directors want to cast you. I know it's kind of weird, but they can't make their movie or their TV show without the perfect person in that role. And they want that to be you. They want everyone to come in to do a great job, and they want to find their actor. And you're right, sometimes it's not going to be you, and that's okay. But at some point someone said that to me, and I was like, oh, it's so true. They don't want us to fail. They want us to do great.
Right. And
so that just kind of helped me anytime I go into an audition room. I remember that. And I love that you and your family try to forget about auditions. That is awesome, because sometimes I don't do that. And I'm like, but did I get it? But did I? Anyway, you have to forget about it. And so that's a good rule of thumb and a good practice.
Yeah.
So we did the in-person callback. Do you remember the day that you got the call that you got the part?
Oh, yeah, I do actually. So it was kind of just a normal day, and I went to dance, and I came back and everything. And then I remember my mom told me I had an audition, but I actually didn't have an audition.
Sneaky mom.
So I was right now. And she was like, yeah, you don't have any lines though. And she was just telling me about it, and I was like, okay, I guess. And so I got changed and everything, and she set up stuff. And she was just saying that she wanted to make me happy at the beginning. So she said that she was going to tell me things to make me happy, and so I was there, and she said, "What if I told you that you got the lead, one of the
role? Her name's in the title.
Yeah. In Amazing Gracie." And at first, I thought it was just like something that didn't actually happen. So I was like, and then I was just sitting there for a while, and I realized I got it. Like, I actually did. So I freaked out. And I was just like, I can't believe this. Like, what's gonna happen? And my head was just like going through so many like emotions, and I was like, what? I couldn't even process it. So yeah, I was very excited.
That is so cool.
Yay.
And immediately I was like going to tell all of my other family members.
Well, yeah.
And yeah, they were all very excited too.
That is so cool. I love that you guys all get to support each other. And I remember I called your mom and I asked if you were there, and she said that you weren't. So I went ahead and I told her first, and then she said she was going to surprise you and tell you. So that's very cool. It was such a special role to cast, because I knew that me and the girl who played Gracie had to have good chemistry, right? I knew that we had to get along and be able to be funny with each other, and I could just tell. Even though we had never met before, I could just tell that it was perfect and that you were the right choice. And you were. And
oh my gosh, totally.
It was totally great.
Yes.
Well, so, okay, so you get the part, and then what happens? You get the script next, and then what did you do after that? Did you work on it? What was your process like?
Well, I had the script, and I remember like going through the whole script in only like a few days, because I was like so like into it. Like, I was like, that's actually gonna be me on camera. So yeah, I was like practicing it every single day, and I didn't stop. And I remember the notebook I had from my audition. I was like using the information I had from Gracie, and I was just like writing it all down. And in the script book, there was these like colored little strips of paper that we would put for like the things that we had that week, and so I just practiced those scenes, and yeah, that was basically
how you did it. You just kind of and you said this earlier that you liked Gracie because she was kind of like you. So was part of your process maybe thinking about things that you guys were similar in?
Yeah, actually, I was looking for like connections that we had, like, things that we had in common, which were, she likes doing things on her own and stuff, and she likes
like a particular way.
And for like a lot of scenes, she kind of just like does like these big things that are unnecessary, but she just does them. And that's me. Like, I sometimes throw like tea parties for no reason on like random days, and I'm like, here, have some tea. And I just like, I set up like things that like, well, I just do that.
You just do, yeah.
Well, you're a hostess.
Yeah. I love that.
So that was part of like, preparing and stuff. And there were certain scenes that I had like a lot of lines, and I was kind of like, oh, I'm scared. Oh no, what do I do? Cause this is like my first movie, and I had usually been in like commercials where I don't have to talk. Like, just
stay in there and smile.
Yeah. That was my first time really like doing something like this. So it was different.
Yeah, for sure. Very cool.
Well, let me ask a question. You had obviously a ton to memorize for the scenes, and you did too. But the little scene at the when you were introducing her to the male lead,
his name is Eduardo, but
yes,
Ian,
to Ian, that scene
in the library,
and it's at the very end of the trailer.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you had so many things to say at just the right time with just the right inflection. I bet that was
she did so good.
That was fun, huh?
Yes.
It was so good it made the trailer.
That's true. That's a good point.
It made, not only did it make the trailer, it made the bug of the trailer, which is you want to leave them with something really funny. And so
it was
a good.
But was that fun? Was that scene fun to do?
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
I would when I saw the scene, I would constantly practice it, and I would just randomly say it to some of my siblings. And I would just practice it in front of them, and they'd be like, "Whoa."
Well, and that was an audition scene. Do you remember that? You did that. We did that scene for one of the audition scenes. I'm pretty sure.
What?
Oh, maybe it was an audition scene for Ian.
Oh, okay.
Because with you, we did the grocery store scene. We did the biscuit scene.
Mm-hmm.
We did
the prayer scene.
We did the prayer scene. Oh, and we did the lock in the car scene. So it was. So we did that scene with Ian. So that's what I was thinking of. That was one of his audition scenes. But I just remember on set, you just crushed that line. I was like, that's exactly how I wrote it in my brain. That's how it sounded, and you just did it perfectly. So that was very cool.
That is cool.
Well, so talk to me about. I remember your first day on set, but I remember probably a little bit differently than you do. So I want to hear from you. What was your first day on set like?
Well, my first day on set, when we were driving up to the place, I was so excited. I was like, yes, do this. But when I walked in, everybody was doing so good, and I was like, am I actually ready? So when we got in there, I think that you were doing a different scene, so I had to be really quiet, and I immediately pulled up my script, and I was reading all of the scenes that I had to do. And I was, when I met you, you made me feel very welcome.
Good.
So I felt like there was not as much pressure when I got to meet everybody.
Good.
Yes. We filmed one of the scenes. It was when I was going up the stairs and everything. Yeah, that scene. It wasn't as nerve-wracking since I might have said something, but yeah, I think it was just one line, so I was just mastering the line. Yeah, so that scene was pretty easy, and the crew was so nice. Everybody was they were so helpful, and they also made me feel so welcome, and they worked so hard. So I'm very thankful for them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I don't know if you remember this, but it was one of our first scenes, and you and I were standing. So it was in that house. It was a really, really big house, and you and I were standing on that balcony edge, and they called, what's it called? Room tone. And I was like, do you know what room tone is? And then I told you what it was. And then as soon as he called it, I was like, don't laugh. And I was trying to get you to laugh during room tone because you weren't supposed to make any noise. And it's the one time I want to laugh and make noise is during room tone. So I remember that. That's funny. Very vividly.
You were causing trouble.
I was causing trouble. That's what I did. And our first scene is the scene where you come and you wake me up. That was so funny.
Oh yeah,
that was our very first scene. And you take the covers and you ripped them off, and you did so great. It was so much fun, and everybody's nervous on their first day. Everyone's like, oh, am I good enough? Am I gonna do a good job? I remember even during my first scene with Patty, we're standing there, and I thought, is it too late to cast somebody else as
yes,
Lucy? It is. I remember thinking that. I was like, I think it's too late. I don't know, but everybody feels that way sometimes. But all you can do is do your best, and you did. Every day you came and you did your best, and you knew your lines. And you were talking about the blooper earlier in the doctor's office, which was so funny. It was such a funny blooper, but to me it was more funny because you hadn't broke it. That was the last day of the first week, and you hadn't broke character one single time that whole week. And I was like, man, she's such a pro. She's never going to break character. And then you did, and it was so cute. And we had such a good laugh, and it was so funny, and it was perfect, and it was worth it. But I just remember you being very prepared, and you did such a great job.
Thank you.
Not only on your first date, but every day.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
What was your absolute favorite scene in the whole movie?
Oh, that's hard.
I know.
There was a lot of scenes that I really liked. But I think my favorite scene was probably the scene where, like, I'm outside of the car and you, like, and, like, I go outside and I'm, like, talking to you because you left me in the car.
Oh, yeah.
That scene was, it was so funny. I was, like, that was definitely my favorite scene. I had practiced it a lot, and I was so excited when it was finally the day to do it.
Oh, yeah, because that was an audition scene. And you'd been working on that for a long time.
Yeah.
No, that was definitely one of my favorite scenes,
Well,
too.
and that was that's a pivotal part of the story. That's where you really become the adult, and she's, you're being her parent or whatever.
Yeah, so to speak. Yeah, definitely.
And just the idea that she has no idea you're not supposed to leave a child in a locked car.
It was locked.
Yeah. Anyway, that scene was so good. It made the trailer too.
Yeah. Just all your scenes. So good.
That's awesome.
So go ahead and you can ask the next one.
Okay. All right. So you're in the middle of all of this. I'm sure some days are better than others. Well, it was 3 weeks where you guys were filming.
3 weeks of filming.
What was the hardest scene to film?
Let's see. There is a scene. It's the biscuit scene. It was actually one of the audition scenes. I knew the lines and everything. That wasn't the hard part. It was like I have more trouble doing emotional scenes or like, those kind of scenes I feel like I get more nervous about or uncomfortable or something. So before that scene, I kind of had to like take a moment in a different room to kind of prepare.
Yep.
And when I did it, it wasn't like the first few times we did it, like I was like still getting the hang of it, but everybody was there and they were saying like, "You're doing so good, keep on going." Yeah. And so it was much easier like the last times. Like I kind of, you
kind of found your groove.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
I'm definitely the same way. Directors, Mike and I talk about this a lot. As a director, it's his job to find out what the actor is like. So there are some actors who are better on their first and their second take. And then there are some actors who are better on their third or their fourth take, where they can kind of, ease into it a little bit. So it's his job to kind of figure that out. And I think you and I are very similar in that I kind of take a minute. I need to do it a couple of times before I'm like, oh no, this is what I wanted to do. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. What were you going to ask?
Well, I just was wondering, in that scene, is that sometime when you get mad at her or something?
Yeah, I definitely get mad at her.
Is that
but it's just it's the time in the movie where Gracie finally gets to show that she's sad. Right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of the time where she's had to be kind of strong this whole time because she thinks she's the one in charge and she has to keep everybody going. But it's the time in the movie where she gets to be sad about what has happened to her parents. And so that was a tough scene. I thought it, by the way, in the movie, it turned out great. So don't be worried about that. It looks awesome. But I do remember that was a hard scene. That was a hard day for me as well, because I want to make sure that you have everything you need from me to feel those emotions and things like that. And then for Lucy to see this little girl who has been so mean in a loving way, to see her sad and for me to feel those emotions too. And so what I loved was that we kind of filmed that. I don't remember if it was the second or the third week, but it wasn't the first week. But you and I had already built a relationship. where I felt like I could be vulnerable with you and like get to that sad place and feel those emotions, and that you were, I can't think of the word that I'm trying to describe, but I just knew that we were partners in that scene, no matter what. Like, no matter what was going to happen, you and I were going to get through the scene, and we were going to be able to do it together. And I just thought that was so special.
That's awesome.
It was very, very special.
Yeah.
Do you have any, we already asked you about favorite scenes, but do you remember eating the mac and cheese? That's all I need to know, is if you remember eating mac and cheese with me.
Yes, I definitely remember that.
Every time I see that scene, I'm like, that was so good. And it was just really delicious.
It was yummy?
It was so good. Do you remember that?
Yes, it was delicious.
They had like Cheez-Its on top. And I was like, I'd never thought to put Cheez-Its on my mac and cheese.
Yeah, don't do that.
It was really good.
Not a good choice.
It was so good.
It was so good that we were like, it's not our turn. And then like, we would just take little bites, and and you know what? We were so hungry that day too.
Oh.
They fed us really well, but I think it was late and we were hungry, and there was mac and cheese in front of us, and it was delicious.
Had you ever held such a huge knife in your life? That was massive.
That's one of my favorite things, is just you holding the big sharp knife. Yes, and you look very mad.
I don't think I've ever held that big of a knife before, but it was definitely funny.
Yes, it was funny. Well, so the last question I want to ask about Amazing Gracie is, you mentioned that this is your very first movie to do, that you've done commercials and stuff before, but this was your first movie, and to be, in the name of the title of the movie, your name was Gracie. The movie's called Amazing Gracie. That there's a weight, like a responsibility to that, where you have to be on set a lot. You have to work very hard. You have a lot of lines to memorize, and so a lot of actors never get to be the lead in a movie, let alone have it be their very first movie ever. And so I just kind of wanted to ask you what it was like to be on set so much and to be working so much during those 3 weeks. Was it super hard, or were there some hard parts, some good parts, or was it just all so exciting that you just were happy to do it?
Well, I remember like whenever I would wake up, even if I had to wake up early, I still would I would just be so excited in the morning.
Yep.
It was very fun.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah. And so sometimes when I was on set and I had finished all of my scenes and I could go, I would want to stay because I would want to watch all the other scenes. I wouldn't want to go, and I would fight with my mom and say, no,
no, we can stay.
Yeah. So it was definitely a memorable thing that will always be there for me. I don't think there's any parts of while we were filming that I ever didn't want to be there. I always was so excited to just see everybody again.
I love it, because that means you'll do it again, and so we can make more movies together.
Awesome. That's so cool. Well, so let's get a little bit bigger picture. Why do you like being an actress?
Well, I really like exploring different styles of acting and techniques. I like getting feedback from coaches and directors as well. I like hearing what they need or want to change, and I will apply it. And I also like meeting new people and new crew and sets and everything. I like going different places to just experience different things that I haven't done before.
Well, and you're good at it. It's easy to like something you're good at.
It's really funny. So you wouldn't know this. This I'm sure has never come up. But when Sarah was 17, she wrote a movie, and we went ahead and filmed it and did all the
in North Carolina, kind of
true.
close where you live.
That's true. It was in North Carolina. But in this movie, it's a musical. In this movie, she acts, and she choreographed she and another friend choreographed all of the dances, and she dances. And then since it's a musical, she sings.
Mom, you're embarrassing me.
No, but my point was, if I asked her of those three things, which is your favorite, she would say acting. But of those three things, because you do all three of those, which do you think would be your favorite?
Okay, let's see. This is probably one of the hardest decisions.
And luckily, it can change over time, so you don't feel like you have to stick to it.
Yeah.
But right now,
There can be a tie.
yeah.
Yeah, right now, well, right now it's definitely acting.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
But it does change.
Yeah.
I might want I like this one more. Or now I like this one more.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, and especially if you have a dance solo in the competitive dance arena, that day is probably going to be your favorite.
It's going to be dance. And dance is definitely my second favorite. I think it goes acting, then dancing, then singing. And just singing sometimes is harder for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Singing is harder for me than the other two. I have to work extra hard at singing than I do the other two. I don't know why, but
That's funny.
Okay, so Celina, the reason why we have this podcast is that we believe that God has given every single person who accepts Jesus a special set of talents and gifts, and that we have the opportunity to use those talents and gifts to do good things that God has set out for us to do. There's lots of different examples, but that's from scripture. That's in the Bible, that he has set out good works for us to do in advance. He already knows what he wants us to do. And so he gives us these talents and these gifts for us to do that. And so the reason we have this podcast is we want to encourage our listeners and our guests to name their talents and gifts, because not to be like, oh, I'm so good at acting or I'm so good at dancing. It's not about that. It's about giving God the glory and the honor for the talents that he's given us. And so it's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about my mom, but it's about God, right? And so we always want to ask our guests, what do you think your talents and your gifts are that God gave to you?
Well, I think that God gave me the gift of storytelling. I can tell stories through anything, actually. I can tell the stories through music, art, dance, acting. I can tell it through the movies and skits I make and the things that I just write down on paper. I can just tell it through all of that. It's really special that he gave me that gift because I love doing all of those things.
Yeah.
And they're really special for me.
That is awesome. What a great answer.
Well, and one of the things that came to mind when you're thinking about the opportunities that God has prepared for us to do, one of them is the taking your ukulele and going to the old folks home.
Oh, yeah. And sharing
playing
it
for them, right? That's the kind of thing that he wants us to spend our lives doing, being a blessing to others. And you're already doing it at 9. that is very special.
That's a perfect example of those good works that I was talking about.
Yeah.
He wants us to encourage others and to be a blessing to others. And I love that you're doing that already. One thing that I also noticed, when we were on set, is that, you were kind of a big deal on set, but you always made everybody feel special, and you always made everybody feel welcome and like they were your friend. And the days where we had a lot of kids on set, I remember they were all looking up to you. And so I think maybe you maybe have the gift of leadership and maybe compassion for other people. Does that sound right?
Yeah. I always like being when I, how I make movies and stuff at home. I usually do it with my siblings or cousins, and I really like being that person that they can count on. And that's basically what he gave to me, and I can just help others and be that person to.
Absolutely.
When your mom and I were communicating back and forth via email before this, one of the things that she said is that you have a heart for people. And I can just see that. You just really like people. Do you think that's true?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Well, that's good.
yeah, I love being in new places and making friends with everybody.
That's so special. That is definitely a gift from God. Not everybody likes to do that. And so that's one that he gave just to you. I love that.
Yeah, because in the movie, you didn't really want to go over and make new friends.
That's true. We had to talk about it.
Yeah, real life, you're great at that.
That's awesome.
That's a very special gift that God has given you. So
Definitely.
yeah, that's very, very cool.
Well, and Celina, so one of the things we're doing in our podcast this year is we want to point people to Jesus, right? That's why we do what we do. And so I wanted to ask you if there was one thing you could tell people about Jesus, people that you don't know, potentially, what would it be?
I think that Jesus, he loves me and he loves you and he loves everybody else in the world. And he also says in the Bible that you need to be kind and caring to others. And that's really special because I think that I want to be more like that. And he also says to be forgiving. And that can be sometimes a hard thing to do, even when sometimes you feel like somebody disappoints you, but it's also something that we all need to do. So.
Yes.
You're so right.
Amen.
Well, one of the things I like to do at the holidays is to go to the mall or someplace where there's a lot of people and just watch.
Just people watch.
People watch. And every once in a while, some people will walk by and they're just being kind of like jerks.
Yeah.
And I have to stop and think, God loves them too. Right? I mean, it's just crazy because it's easy to like the people that are likable.
Right.
I really like Sarah a lot.
I like you too, Mom.
But to really like these people who are not being all that nice, that's just sometimes hard. And you're right. We have to forgive. We have to be kind because God made them. It's crazy to think that people are out there that aren't always worried about other people and what they think and what they feel and all that. So
but that's a very nice gift that he gave you.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, let me ask you another question here. What other projects are you working on now?
Well, I recently was working on a Food Line commercial. It's out, and it's been going out on TVs and everything.
I've seen it. It's so cool.
Awesome.
I don't have like a show or like a movie I'm working on now, but I have been getting some audition commercials and movies and stuff like that. I also was accepted into an acting class or program, and that's starting next Thursday. And I'm very excited for that because it sounds fun.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, very cool.
That is so special. And is it specifically for film acting?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Very cool. Celina, you should be so proud. That's awesome. A friend of mine reminded me the other day that the job of acting is 99% auditioning. 99% of acting work is just auditioning. So the fact that you're still getting to audition and you're auditioning for commercials and films, it's just so cool. I have no doubt that you are going to be very successful, and it's awesome. And I'm excited to just watch and be along for the ride.
That's so true. So Sarah went to school in California at UCLA for acting. And one of her teachers said, at the graduation, I don't know if you remember this, she was a Mouseketeer.
Oh, the teacher. Yes.
The teacher. I don't even know if you know what that is. It's
like for the Mickey Mouse Club.
For the Mickey Mouse Club. That? Way back in the day.
Way back in the day. But anyway.
And she said that when you're a successful actress, it's not always just what you do when you're on the set, but it's how you make the best use of your time in between while you're waiting for the next thing. Are you writing? Are you reading?
Are you dancing?
Are you dancing and creating art and playing your instruments? I would think, I'm not an actress, but I would think that could be discouraging in between.
Yeah.
But if you are thinking of it in terms of the big picture, yes, you'll have a role or two a year maybe, but in between, what are you doing to prepare for that or to create, like for you, writing more stories or doing plays with your brother and your sister and or your neighborhood kids or whatever. So that's just really cool. You have an opportunity to just continue to be the best you can be, even in between the amazing Gracies and then whatever's
commercials
next.
And
yeah.
Definitely.
So that's not always easy to remember. Sarah started this when she was 11, so very similar in age.
Yep.
And I just remember, there were times when it wasn't easy. You're just.
Yesterday. I'm just kidding.
Well, it can be discouraging at times. And just remember that God's got this.
Yeah.
That His timing is always perfect. It's funny. You wrote Amazing Gracie a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, I wrote Amazing Gracie before the pandemic, if you can imagine it.
Wow.
I know, and then we didn't make it till a little bit after the pandemic.
But part of that might be that God was waiting for you to be a little bit older.
Yeah,
just
that's so true.
Because you were just the right
person
actress for that role.
Yeah,
we just don't have any idea.
Sometimes,
all of the things that He is working together for our good and for His glory.
Amen, Mama.
So yeah,
amen. Well, Celina, thank you so much for being with us today. How can people who are fans of yours follow you and see what projects you're working on? How can they connect with you?
Well, I have a website. I think my mom sent you the link and everything.
Yep, and it'll be on the screen and in the description. It's just your name, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. And then how else?
And I have an Instagram account and a YouTube account.
Uh-huh.
The YouTube is Celina's Creative Corner.
Oh, cute.
That is cute. Everybody go there.
I love that name.
Subscribe.
That name is perfect.
And are you on Facebook as well, or just on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
Very cool. Well, it was so good to see your face. I can't wait for us to get together and to see the movie and for you to see just what a great job you did. And I just am so proud that we're friends and that we got to do this together. It's very special.
Are you going to the premiere?
Oh, yeah, I am.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay, good. Well,
so, yes, I will see you there.
Yes. Oh, nice.
Well, this has been awesome. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.
Right, bye.
Thank you guys so much for listening to our podcast with Celina. This podcast is made possible through generous listeners and friends like you, and we are so very grateful to our supporters. If you would like to sponsor an episode, head over to thecollaborationconversation.org and click Sponsor an Episode.
For more information on Project Brickworks, visit us online at projectbrickworks.org. Subscribe to our newsletter or text BRICK to 55498 to get the latest news and updates. We love you all. Be blessed, and we'll see you next time.